Heavy in the paint. Gerald Brown back here for another episode. It's March Madness, reaching the Sweet 16 and beyond. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And right now, this gentleman that's joining me tonight, this afternoon, wherever it may be, is a gentleman I consider a good friend. And you know what's more importantly, a first-class individual. This is a man, 2000, went to the mountaintop, won that championship and won the college championship for Michigan State Spartans. But then not only that, goes into a situation where it doesn't get drafted, goes overseas, puts in that work, when goes back and come back into the NBA with a name, the one, the only, Mr. Charlie Bell joining me here, heavy in the paint. Mr. Bell, how you doing this evening, man?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, man. Anytime I can see your face, man, it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing, man. Appreciate you having me.
It's a pleasure too. I must say this, man. I have so much respect for you because you know what, Bell? There's a lot of dudes around here that's not letting their grade show anymore, man. A lot of dudes.
Hey, trust me, I'm watching the same show as you watching, man. I'm
You know
like,
what I'm
hold
saying?
on. Jalen older than me, Chris older than me. I'm seeing all these guys. I'm watching,
You call the name Jalen Rose. I mean, we got love
NBA
for Jalen.
TV. I'm like, man, wait a minute, man. Y'all hair darker than mine. Man, by sometimes I think about going here,
Nah,
but I'm like, man, I'm just gonna let it ride, baby.
that's what I'm saying, man. Show your age and your experience, man. I'm just trying to understand them brothers, man. There's a lot of these brothers out here, man. They hair is real dark. And I said maybe they
That's a
put
lot
that.
of them. Like that's a lot of them. Stephen A. All of them, man.
Yeah, yeah. You
All them
call
cats,
names out.
man.
See, I didn't want to call names out. J. Rose, C. Webb, Stephen A.
Hey,
And respected him, man. But
much respect. Everybody got their own thing, man. You know, sometimes they want to hold on to that dark. I get it. Hey, it's all good. That dark and lovely, I guess, man. I don't know, man. I don't know if they getting the regular black or the jet black though. That's what I'm trying to figure out though.
now that's that midnight cocoa bean, man. That's that Beijing. And it's that midnight cocoa bean that they put in their ear. Because I'm like, come on, man. This is crazy, man. Dudes ain't got no strands of gray. And I ain't gonna lie, you know what I'm saying? I don't have none of that in there. But there's some
Uh-huh.
gray in there. But you know, I'm seeing some of these brothers and I can't understand that. You know,
Man,
Bill, I appreciate you coming on here, man. Like I said before, you know, we're at the cusp of this time of the year, and I've always said you're a part of a fraternity that no matter what happens, people will always remember you. And obviously, it'll become even more talked about around this time of the year and what you did at Michigan State. Before we go back into just obviously winning the championship and being a part of that team that captured it for a championship, talk about the fact of the matter is, I don't want to sort of dismiss Michigan, University of Michigan, but I always think about Michigan State is the school that in the basketball team, and maybe not the football team, but I'm going to say for all intents and purposes right now, the basketball team that represents the state of Michigan in terms of just grit and grind and just all about. When you think about Michigan State now, if I had to say it reflects Michigan as a whole, would you agree or disagree?
I think always. I think when you look at our guys, I think and then it starts from the leadership. With coach and the way he is. He's a grit and grind guy, and I don't know if a lot of people watch. Just did a Big Ten special. With the Kiss and everything, talking about it and just talking about. It takes a different breed just to go to Michigan State. You got to have a little toughness about you because, but at the same time, the game is changing. You can't coach these guys the same way that, guys were coached, 15, 20 years ago. Nowadays with the NIL money, transfer portal, you yell at the guy the wrong way, he might be gone. Next thing you know, somebody might be offering him some more money. He might be gone. But at the same time, Izzo's going to probably still do a great job because most of the time, if you come to Michigan State, you know what you're getting into. The Mateen Cleaves, Draymond Greens, you know that toughness that comes with it. And so if you're gonna come there, that you got to understand what you're coming and what you're getting into.
Yeah. Now you guys going back in 2000, you win that championship, but the year prior, you guys went to the Final Four or the Sweet 16 the year prior.
Final four before, yeah, Final Four. Yeah, it
So
was we kind of like took some steps in my freshman year. We made it to the Sweet 16. We lost to Vince Carter. and that great North Carolina team. And then for us, it was kind of like that was the first time making it to the Sweet 16 because before I got there, they was in NIT, and now
Mhm.
we made it to the tournament, made it to the Sweet 16. Everything was great. But once you get up there and you start the game, it's like you shell shocked at first, but as the game goes on, you start to realize, man, we can play with these guys, man. We can beat them, and then sometimes time runs out, game's over with, so it's like, man, we want to get further than next year. So the next year we got all the way to the Final Four, played against Duke, and same thing, like, man, we're out here in the Final Four. This is awesome. Wow, we're playing against Duke. I mean, and at the same time, as the game tips off, next thing you know, as the game goes on, you start to build more confidence. But then, next thing you know, you run out of time. And then I think after that, it was like, man, we got a taste of everything. We understand that we're just as good, if not better, than all these other teams that we're playing against that are, these blue blood programs at the time, because Michigan State wasn't really there, it was North Carolina's, the Dukes, the Kentucky's. We were still trying to work our way there. But now we like, man, we just as good as these guys. And at the same time, they not putting that work in that we putting in. I mean, that was the kind of mentality that we had because we knew in the summertime what we were doing. I don't think that there was no program out there working as hard in the weight room, off the court, and just doing the stuff that we were doing in order to win the championship. So by the time we got to my junior year, it was, everything was go towards championship.
So basically, you had tournament experience all 4 years.
Yeah. I don't know where that's when it started. My freshman year. And it's kind of crazy just to see. Well, we got a 26-year streak right now, and it started my freshman year. I said that was the first time because before I got there, I want to say the year before that. Like I said, my team's freshman year, they went to the NIT, and I think the year before that, they didn't make the tournament either. So my freshman year was the first time we made the tournament, and it's been kind of we've been kind of spoiled ever since. We don't know what not being in a tournament is like since 1996.
So then, so Bell, how do you guys make sure that you stay and stay locked in? Because you're talking about, like you said before, you go from basically tournament every year, get to the Final Four, and then come back and get to the final game and win it. What what,
Hmm.
what was the way? Like, how did you guys stay locked in from freshman year to keep that kind of regiment and
Yeah,
then continue to add on without getting caught up in the glitz and glamour? Now, this is pre-social media and all that other
yeah,
stuff, but how
yeah.
did you guys avoid a lot of the temptations of resting on your laurels?
Coach Izzo, he, he, he wouldn't let that happen, man. No, no, come on now, nah. He was always preaching, you know, getting better, wanting more. We went back to the Final Four again. I've been to three Final Fours. Went back to the Final Four again. My senior year, we lost to Arizona with Gilbert Arenas and them guys. That was a great team, but we made it back again. And like I said, it was one of those things where I'll never forget after my freshman year. Like I said, we made it to the Sweet 16, and being a freshman, you're like, man, there was and it's different from high school and college. High school, you out there just on talent. You really ain't going back to the gym. You ain't working like that. You get to Michigan State, you got to college now. You're doing individual workouts. You're doing summer workouts. Like you're just doing all these different things that lead into the season. Now the season goes on. It's a long season. You play more games than you played in high school. And after the season, I'm like, man, I'm about to chill for a couple weeks. Maybe after about 2 3 days, coach called me. Hey, I heard you ain't been in the gym. I'm like, well, coach, man, season just ended. Like, come on. He was like, I don't care. Think the Sweet 16, something like we gotta want more. And he, like I said, he lit into me. Over the fall. I think he was out recruiting, and he kind of. I won't say that there were thoughts of transferring after the way he ripped into me. It was kind of like, man, I don't know if I can take this, but at the same time, it was like, now you got to look in the mirror and be like, is he right, or is he just getting on me for just to get on me? Like, what is it? And you look in the mirror, it's like, what, he's right. I can't be happy with what we did, that year. The preparation for the next season, starts now. And that was the kind of mentality I took into every off season. My whole basketball career was more, what after the season's over with, now I'm getting ready for next year. And you see it with the greats, like the Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jordan, them guys, they're constantly wanting more. That's what like Tom Brady wins a championship every year. how does he do it? Because, he's not happy with just that. He wants to continue to get better and continue to push himself. And I think that's what Coach did. And that's what the mentality that we all had. We just wanted to push ourselves to continue to get better every year.
So that means you guys went to three straight years. You went to three straight Final Fours,
That's
essentially.
correct, man. Yep,
Yo,
yep.
that
Three Final
like
Fours.
I was talking to Derek Anderson of Kentucky, and I think that with that group, they would have had a shot to win. I think they won two, but they could have won three. And the interesting thing, I think Arizona was involved, and I could be off or something, but to go to three straight Final Fours, do you almost have a sense of how do you say you manage and say, okay, this is what we need to do. We don't panic in the beginning of the season. We can't get off to a sluggish
Hmm.
start. Like, did you guys understand how to manage a season because you knew that the end result was like, this is where we would need to be, and if we follow this path, this is how we could do it. Did you guys do that, or is it just like basically again just a lot of things fell your way?
No, I mean, you manage it as just every game you go out there wanting to get better, knowing what the end result is. Yeah, you may lose a game, you may make some mistakes, but what can we do to minimize the mistakes? What can we do to in a close game, that we may have lost? What can we did differently to win that game? Because I think that's the main thing that separates championship teams from a great team is uh minimizing the little mistakes, and it's something that you don't realize. Like I said, it all goes back to coach. Coach, you thinking that you coming down against some little a school that you way better than. You're up 30, you come down, you want to go behind the back, throw some little lob pass, and you turn the ball over, and you let coach yelling at you like, what are you doing? It's like, coach, we up 30, man, like, what? But coach don't let you develop those bad habits, because now you in a close game in NCAA tournament where that may cost a game. Now I didn't did that all season long. Now in my mind, I'm conditioned. I'm gonna come down, try to go behind the back, try to throw that lob again, right? And now I turn the ball over. Now that may cost us the game. So coach is big on coaching, tendencies and coaching, little things, because he knows that once you get in that tournament and you see a lot of great teams that, it's hard to go out there and win six straight games. And, I mean, because teams are going to make mistakes, you're going to have a bad game. But maybe sometimes what they did in that game that they lost, that was a bad habit that somebody didn't nip in the bud throughout the season. So, like I said, I give coach a lot of credit. There's a lot of great coaches out there, and it's hard to win a championship. Like I said, it's hard to go to the Final Four. Like even this year, you see, everybody was talking about Kentucky this year. How great they are, how they may make a championship run. Boom, they get knocked out by Oakland in the first round, which is right down the street from where we're at. So it's kind of like, but I don't know. I never watched. I didn't watch Kentucky throughout the season, and what if they develop some bad habits or anything like that. But what we understood is every little game, every mistake. We used to have like a shirt. We had like some hands on it that did like this, and it said it's the little things, and that was like one of the T-shirts that we used to wear around, because we understood the little things can, minimizing those little things that you can correct or get better at. Like they say, what you get an inch better every day. That was the kind of mentality that we had.
How do you guys make sure? And again, Tom Izzo is he's a legend. That's undeniable. But still, you guys had to go out on the court and operate and execute
Yeah,
those
I
things.
think
How
I
did you
think a
guys?
lot of
How did you guys make sure you didn't tune that out? Because Bell, y'all went to three straight. Like I forgot about that. Like yo, for
yeah,
you to say we went to the NCAA tournament, you went to the NCAA tournament 4 years. You're 4 years in a row. That means,
yeah,
and then you said, yo, from your first year you went to Sweet 16, and then the next 3 years you're Final Four and
right.
championship. It's like that mentality and mindset, it's unheard of in this day and age. And I think a lot of the times it's a lot of discipline. But how do you guys make sure that, I mean, obviously at some point, you know, the message gets stale, right? You're going to tune it out because it's like,
No, no, no.
coach,
Yeah, yeah. No, I get what you said. I think a lot of it has to do with, as teammates, holding each other accountable.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And like, yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, coach is gonna say something, it's gonna go in this ear, out that one. Like coach, man, whatever, dude. I ain't trying to hear you. But when you got your teammate coming up to you, hey man, my man just scored on you 3 straight times, man. You gonna shut him down or what? Now you like, that was a kind of accountability that we held each other to. If somebody supposed to be our 3-point shooter, and we passed him. He turned down open. Look, bro, what you doing, man? You out here for a reason, man. You better shoot that shot next time. Like that was the mentality that we had. Like, yeah, we had coach, but at the same time, you know, as players, and nobody went through the wars like we went through the wars. As far as in practice, off season, grinding, doing what we had to do. But we had that type of relationship where we can go at each other like that. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's something that a lot of teams don't have, not especially nowadays with the NIL, and it's like everybody out there trying to get there, this and that. But the one thing we always understood is, if we win, if when the team win, it was like, everybody eat, B. You know what I'm saying? It was like that. That was the mentality we had. Like we win, everybody eat.
Who was the guy or guys that really kind of was that like sort of vocal leader that pulls people to the side and be like, yo, you step your game up? Who was that for you guys if it wasn't yourself?
I mean, everybody knows Mateen. I mean, he was the main one that,
Who is the guy that tells you if you want to win, you're gonna tap in, sounding like
yeah. Come on, man. That's how he's always been the mouth of the Michigan State, man. But
sound like a used car salesman.
yeah, but the thing is, it was all of us though, man. Myself on a different level. I probably wasn't screaming and yelling, but I may go pull Andre Hudson to the side. Hey, man, blah blah blah. Say what he need to say, but he knew he can come to me. All of us. I think it was a team thing. Like yeah, we had when teams probably out in the forefront, but at the same time, we had a whole team of everybody can go to everybody, and sometimes you might get upset, but at the same time, we all knew what that end goal was. And I think one thing about us too is, everybody understood their roles. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are a shooter, you go shoot. You the defender, you go defend. You are a rebounder, you gonna go rebound. And everybody understood, and everybody was trying to be great in their roles.
Yeah. Now, when take us through the mindset of, even around this time of the year, and obviously, it's been some time and stuff. What is the mindset of preparing for? What was the mental, makeup of just preparing? Like, what will you think? What comes to mind as we head into the Sweet 16 with the Elite Eight and the Final Four right around the corner? What were some of those memories that you have from that preparation wise?
I mean, excitement, man. I mean, there was some nerves there. You could be lying if you say you weren't nervous, but at the same time, it was excitement, man, because we knew, like, after one season was over with, we knew, that whole off season, we know what we were working towards. We knew what that end goal was, and and at that time, it's nobody's gonna stop us. Once we get out there on that court, it's anything can happen. But at the same time, the other team better be perfect because we're not gonna back down. Even like sometimes when you think back at that championship run, there was games that we got down in that probably didn't look like we were gonna win. But I can tell you one thing, man. We didn't panic. I don't know what it was, but it was just kind of like we knew what we did. We knew the work that we put in, and we knew like if we just stayed the course, continue to do what we needed to do, we were gonna win. And I mean that was just the mindset. And I even like looking back on it, looking at some of these teams now, like I still get excited just watching because I know the excitement, the nerves, the hard work a lot of these guys put into it. And now, now they're starting to see that hard work pay off with a Sweet 16, and now they're going to pay off with a Final Four. But and it was, the best thing was probably like the open practices. You know what I'm saying? When you got 6,000 people that come and watch you just shoot and dunk at the end, and just that excitement. Walking into the arena, and you felt like it's the NBA Finals. Especially for a kid, from Flint, and you going out there and you got all these cameras, and you got everybody taking pictures, everybody want autographs. It was just like, man, we here. You wanted only 16 schools left playing. You only one of the 4 teams left playing. I mean, it was like, man, you gotta just soak it all in. And at the same time, knowing all the work that we put in to get there, it just felt good to finally like your work was paying off.
Yeah. Now, coming from Flint and obviously you, Mateen, and Morris Peterson and stuff like that, you guys all grew up. Was there ever any thought of going to another school? Like, was there ever a situation where Charlie Bell said, "Yo, I want to do my own thing," or was it always, "I'm going to Michigan
No,
State"?
no, it wasn't always, man. Truthfully, like when I was in high school, man, I wasn't even thinking about college basketball like that, man. I just love to hoop, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm out here hooping. I wasn't thinking about, professional basketball playing in the NBA or Michigan State or Michigan, whatever it was. I was a fan of the Fab Five. I was a fan of, the Fire and Ice, you know what I'm saying? Sean Rashford and Eric Snow at Michigan State. So I would just love basketball. I just love to go out there and play. Michael Jordan was my, I just love basketball. And, as I got older and maybe as my, senior year approached, and then it was like I'm getting at these offers and, I took all five of my visits, you know what I'm saying? Because you got five, and I was taking all five because you go on these visits, they gonna wine and dine you. So I was eating a lot of expensive steaks, every weekend. I'm like, shoot, like where we going? Give me that T-bone. I need that ribeye. I need every weekend. I was getting it, you know what I'm saying? So I went. My five was Minnesota, Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, and UConn.
Mm.
So I took a visit to all of them. Love Michigan just because it was Michigan. Minnesota, I like Clem Haskins was the coach there. I had a lot of respect for Clem Haskins. And Coach Dunn, I think, was at Penn State at the time.
Jerry
I
Dunn.
got Jared Dunn, yeah. So I like Jared, and then you had Coach Calhoun at UConn, and UConn had that two guard factory going on over there, man. You know what I'm saying, with Ray Allen, Rip Hamilton, all them guys. I'm like, man, But when I went on my visit there, I was like, man, this is the middle of nowhere, bro. I don't know about this. So if it was anywhere, I might have went maybe with Yuka. But once I got to state, man, it was just like, just being around guys that I was familiar with. It just felt, it felt right. Like, some visits is just like, I don't know. And then, went there, these guys are cool, but you got that click over here, you got that click. I went to state, it was like the whole team, hanging out. It was just like, like I just felt comfortable, man. And then I give credit to, coaches on the coaching staff and, everybody that was recruiting me because, I ran cross country in high school. So during them times, I'd be out there, cross country is boring, man. You just on the golf course running, 3.2 miles. You look up there on the top of a hill, you got one of the Michigan State assistant coaches watching me run. I'm like, oh, y'all want me that bad, huh? So it was kind of like, so yeah, it was one of the things, man. It just felt natural, man. It felt at home when I went there.
What was AAU? And I imagine you played AAU basketball, right? Did you do the circuit?
I did. I mean, at that time it was a little different. I think we ended up winning the 16 and under national championship.
Who
AAU
you
with
with?
Shane Battier, Shane Battier, Greg Grace. We had a nice little squad, man. We ended up winning it all. And I think that might have been my sophomore year, maybe sophomore or junior. I can't remember. It was
What was the
16
name
and
of the
under.
team, the program?
The Motor City Mavericks.
Okay, most of
And we were sponsored by Nike, and this is before then, and this is just AAU. But then I think around that time, that's when Nike started to have their own circuit, and then Adidas had a circuit. So we kind of broke up. So it was kind of Shane went Nike. I went with another team that like most of it. Like it was funny. It's like I think maybe two guys went Nike and Motor City Mavericks, and we started the Michigan Mustangs. Me, Greg Graves, a whole, and we were Adidas. So now that's when everything kind of started to change because now you on the Adidas circuit, they on the Nike circuit. So it was kind of that's when everything kind of to change. And but before that, it was just AAU. You know what I mean? But it was kind of before, the shoe companies really started to take over like how they are now. I mean, it's crazy now because then next thing you know, the shoes are paying X amount of dollars, for these top players to start their own programs. So it was a little different back then, but definitely got there and played AAU, and it's probably not as monetized as it is now. Back then it was just, guys just going out there playing you and the best playing the best because it was only one thing, AAU. That was it. I mean, I think they had some other little thing, but that was kind of like the small circuit. But AAU was the way you went.
Yeah. Now, when you think about it, you have children and stuff like that. So, still being a part of that scene and seeing that AAU scene and stuff, and stuff.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on it? Because I look at AAU now, and what's interesting is my youngest son is 17. He's 6'5", and we were just looking at the landscape of college basketball and the trickle down effect for it. Like college coaches. if you're not a top 200 kid or something like that, everybody's in the transfer portal. Like it's all transfer portal. It's all older kids, like 25 years
No, no,
old.
no. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy now, man. It's
yeah.
just watching. Like my son was coming up. He's at a Division 2 now, and I think he's a Division 1 talent. But like you said, nobody. I don't even think they really recruit high school seniors like that no more. I was sitting there
No,
talking with like with the guys from Oakland University. It's like they like yo, we're going to go get a kid in the transfer portal that's older, seasoned. They know what they're getting instead of getting their high school kids. So like I think like the last couple of years, I mean a couple of years ago, like Mr. Basketball in the state of Michigan went Division 2. That back in the day, that was Mr. Basketball. That was you going to Michigan State. You know what I'm saying? You're going to a top school. It's like nowadays it's like you said, nobody. And then I don't even know. I mean, I think coaches they recruit high school games, but like you don't see coaches at high school games no more. It's like they're more on that circuit now. Like it's AAU is where it's all at, and I think everything the numbers is inflated with AAU because if you really watch these games, everybody's pressing. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's just coming down, jacking up shots. Nobody's really running, and it's a free fall. Like nobody's really playing like kids don't even know how to play defense because all they do is press. Like I like every game, every little game I see, these kids is in a 2-2-1 press or 1-2-3. I mean, like it's like they pressing, trying to get steals. And if you can get the ball to, turn over, you can come down and jack it, or if somebody shoot, because they're not going to run a set because somebody's pressing. So somebody's going to shoot just a regular random shot, a three. They're getting the rebound, they're pushing, other teams pressing. So it's just like they just out there running up and down the court, just jacking shots, trying to get steals.
do you think the game has suffered on the grassroots level? And I mean, obviously we've heard people say, the defense really doesn't show up in the NBA. Do you think that
Oh
this is
yeah.
kind of a trickle down effect where there's no more skill development and fundamentals teaching and stuff at the grassroots level?
I wouldn't say that because I think nowadays kids are doing more skill development than playing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you got your AAU. I think the game is just has gotten a lot, free flowing. Like back in the day, we weren't going to trainers. I wasn't going to working on my left hand with a trainer and
Yeah,
dribbling around cones. I was going to the gym. I'm going to the park. I'm hooping. Like, so I think it was like we had that toughness about us. But now kids don't go to gyms and hoop no more. They don't go to the park no more. They're more in the gym with their trainers, working on the skill development. But at the same time, that's why scoring is up. I think the skill level is a little higher, but the toughness and the defense ain't there because everybody's working on just the skill development. Nobody wants because nobody's getting paid to go out there and shut nobody down right now. Everybody wants to go out there and get buckets, and then that's the way the NBA is, kind of moved over the last couple of years. Taking hand checking out, taking this out. The game is sped up. Analytics is coming to the scene now. Now it's how many threes we can jack up because like corner threes and the percentages is here, the percentages is there. It's like the game has changed, and I think that's just the way it's going to be. I don't think there's nothing you can do to really change it because you're going. But now I think you're seeing some of the more skilled guys are some of these Europeans. You look at Jokic, you look at Luca. These guys are skilled, but to me, I feel like but they don't have the athleticism, but they're very skilled. And you're starting to see a lot of great play. But I played overseas, and those guys work on fundamentals at an early age. I mean, so that's just the way the game is going, and I think there's really nothing you can change. I mean, it's because I don't think defense is going to become prevalent because that's what people want to see. People want to see scoring, and guys are going to get more and more skill because back in the day, Jordan might have been the best player, but everybody else is okay. Now you look at teams like Boston, Phoenix. They got 3, 4, 5 guys out there that can go out there and get buckets, and that's just the way it is now. I think there's a lot more talent in the league, and it's kind of a little bit harder to stop guys now. Back in the day, you might can focus on one player. You know what I'm saying? But now when you got 3, 4 guys that can probably hurt you, and then you got guys coming off the bench that can play too. I mean, the game has changed. I think there's a lot more skilled players, but I just don't think that the toughness and the effort is there anymore like that.